Welcome back to Cincinnati Reds Daily. I'm Greg, and today we're shutting down one of the most ridiculous rumors of the offseason. It's not even the offseason yet. We still got MLB playoffs happening, but I'm calling it the offseason because it's the offseason for the Reds. There's been a lot of talk lately about whether the Reds should trade or they could trade Hunter Greene this offseason. Let's stop it right there. It's not going to happen, and it shouldn't happen. In his latest article, Reds beat writer Mark Sheldon floated the idea of trading Hunter Greene in exchange for some offensive firepower, suggesting that maybe moving a high-end arm could help plug a hole in Cincinnati's lineup. Here's the quote. Would trading Hunter Greene help bring back a bat? Greene, a 2024 All-Star and a two-time opening day starter, is signed through 28, meaning 2028. The right-hander with triple-digit velocity has shown he can be a dominant force on the mound, but that ability has been stunted by extended stints on the IL in each of his 4 big league seasons. The injuries the past 3 seasons were considered relatively minor, including the grade 1 right groin strain that cost him over 2 months in this season. He's never pitched more than 150 in a third innings or made more than 26 starts. So that was Sheldon's article. Sure, you'd love for Hunter Greene to stay healthy for a full season, but when he is healthy, he's elite. Over the last 2 seasons, he's made 45 starts with a 2.76 ERA. That's among the best in all of Major League Baseball. Now, for a team that is a small market team, they don't spend a lot of money. Let's get into Hunter Greene's contract. He's signed through 2028 with a club option in 2029. Let's go year by year. 2025, he made $6.3 million. 2026, he's due to make $8.3 million. 2027, $15.3 million. 2028, $16.3 million. In 2029, he has a club option for $21 million. That is an absolute bargain for a top-end starting pitcher entering his prime. Do we not remember that we just paid Nick Martinez $21 million to be a starting pitcher / reliever? Hunter Greene, his club option in 2029 is going to be $21 million. You're going to have him for 4 more seasons. You do not trade that kind of guy. You just don't. There's not enough. The all-star to all-star trades rarely happen, it seems like. But it just, unless you're absolutely blown out of the water, you do not trade Hunter Greene. The Reds are never going to be able to sign a pitcher like Greene on the free agent market. Guys like that don't come to Cincinnati unless they're drafted, developed, and brought out of arbitration early, exactly what the Reds did. Trading him while on his contract and entering his age 26 season would be a terrible decision. Now, let's get to Reds president of baseball operations. He talked to reporters. This was a quote in a Gordon Whitmire article. This was from Nick Krall. I don't want to speculate, before I get into the quote, this was asked specifically on Greene possibly being traded. I don't want to speculate on anybody that's going to get traded or not traded at this point because we haven't had any conversations with other clubs. I don't know what the needs are out there. I don't know what people are available as well. Now, listen, that's pretty much GM speak. Even if they have had conversations about people getting traded, they're not just going to be like, yeah, we're talking about Hunter Greene being traded or whoever it might be. They're just never going to come out and say that. Honestly, I would have loved for Nick Krall to come out and back his ace publicly and said, Hunter Greene is a huge part of our future. We're not going to trade him. But whatever. It's all just GM speak. But I do think it's fair to say there might have been some turbulence, some end of the season tension between the Reds and Hunter Greene. Greene, again, he had that groin strain in the middle part of the season. He came back. The Reds were trying to get him going, and then all of a sudden he didn't feel right. The MRIs didn't really show much, but they shut him down. They sent him to Arizona. It was an awkward situation, it felt like. But Greene did eventually get better, come all the way back. And then during the final week of the year, Hunter Greene could have been lined up to start twice when the Reds were pushing for a playoff spot. The team chose to keep him and have a 6-day on the 6th day instead of moving him back up to his normal 5th day, and they pitched Brady Singer. The Reds lost that game. They also lost the last game of the regular season. That Greene would have started that game if they moved him up, but They lucked out because the Mets lost. Thankfully, Greene did struggle, obviously, in the National League Wild Card Series. But when asked about not pitching twice that last week, Greene had an interesting quote, and this was from Charlie's Chalkboard from Charlie Goldsmith. He said, "None of that was up to me. All those conversations were had with Tito, DJ, and the whole staff." Now, you'd think if you're thinking about doing something like that, or if it might make sense, you'd think you'd have some conversations with Hunter Greene, and he would be able to give some input of, "Hey, give me the ball. I want to pitch twice," or "Hey, I'd rather be ready for game one." Anyway, it seems like none of those conversations were had with Greene himself. It's not a big deal in itself, but it does show there may have been some disconnect in communication at the end. Still, that's not a reason to consider trading your ace. That's a reason to tighten the relationship going forward. And here's where else the trade logic falls apart. Even if you did want to explore trading Greene, who exactly are you getting back that makes sense? You're not going to find a player who's 26 years old, signed through 2028, at under $17 million per year, and is also one of the best arms in baseball. You're not getting a player of equal value, not in talent, not in control, not in contract. So you'd be trading from a position of strength and creating a massive hole in your rotation just to maybe get a bat. That's just not the way to build a team. If you want to go get a bat, trade some prospects. Go spend some money in free agency. You don't do it by trading your ace with 4 years under control left. That just does not make sense. Yes, the Reds need offense, but there are plenty of ways to add bats. Again, like I said, through free agency, through prospect trades, through internal development. You don't have to do it by trading your ace. Remember, the Reds won 83-79 this year and made the postseason for the first time since 2020, and that's the second time since 2013. They fell to the Dodgers in the National League Wild Card Series, but it's fair to say this team is on the rise. You don't move your ace when you're this close. You build around him. So let's end the Hunter Greene trade talk right here. The Reds have an ace on a long-term team-friendly deal who's obviously wants to be in Cincinnati because he signed the deal. You don't trade that. You protect it. Do you think the Reds should trade Hunter Greene? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. It might be an unrealistic with the fact that the Reds should just not trade Hunter Greene, not even think about it. Anyways, if you made it this far, like, subscribe, comment. Appreciate all of you who've been here. I've said this before, but we just recently hit 2,000 subscribers on YouTube. So thank you to all of you who watch. And if you've enjoyed this breakdown, like I said, like, subscribe, and hit the notification bar so you get a notification every time we post. And as always, I'll leave you with a Go Reds.